The Nightingale and the Rose characters. The student is the first character in the story. He is a boy who dreams of dancing with the girl he loves, but he is worried because he does not have a red rose. That was what the girl asked for in return of dancing with him. He dedicates his life to books, he likes philosophy, and he considers books the only useful thing in life. We have an example of this when the nightingale tells him that he is going to have his rose. The student looked up from the grass, and listened, but he could not understand what the nightingale was saying to him, for he only knew the things that are written down in books. The three next characters could go together: the little green lizard, the butterfly and the daisy. They are all personified elements of nature. They think that it is ridiculous to weep for a red rose, and the green lizard even laughed outright. The next character is our protagonist. The nightingale is all goodness. She thinks that the most important thing in the world is love, and she even gives her life for love. The three next characters could go together too. The three rose trees, although the important one is the one who has the red rose. He tells the nightingale to die for a red rose. The last character is the daughter of the professor, the girl the student loved. She makes much of material things and she looked down on the rose the student gave her just because it had less material value than the jewels another boy sent her. Summary. The Nightingale and the Rose is a story in which the first character that appears is a student. This boy is sad because a girl promised to dance with him on condition that he brought her red roses, but he did not find any red rose. There were white roses and yellow roses, but he could not find red roses. While he was moaning because her love would not dance with him, four characters from nature started to talk about him. A little green lizard, a butterfly, and a daisy asked why he was weeping, and the nightingale said that he was weeping for a red rose. The first three characters said that weeping for a red rose was ridiculous. The nightingale, who understood the student, started to fly until she saw a rose tree. She told him to give her a red rose, and she promised, in exchange, to sing her sweetest song, but the rose tree told her that his roses were white, and he sent the nightingale to his brother that grew round the old sundial. The nightingale went to see this new rose tree, and after promising the same in exchange for a red rose, the rose tree told her that his roses were yellow, but he sent the nightingale to his brother, who grew beneath the student's window, so the nightingale went there, and when she arrived, she asked the rose tree to give her a red rose. The rose tree said that his roses were red, but that the winter had chilled his veins and the frost had nipped his buds, so he could not give her a red rose. The rose tree gave her a solution. He told her that if she wanted a red rose, she had to build it out of music by moonlight and stain it with her own heart's blood. She had to sing to the rose tree with her breast against a thorn. The thorn would pierce her heart and her life blood would flow into the rose tree veins. The nightingale said that death was a great price to pay for a red rose, but at the end, she accepted. The nightingale went to see the student and told him that he would have his red rose, that it was her who was going to build it up with her own blood. The only thing she asked him for in return was to being a true lover. Although the student looked at her, he could not understand anything because he only understood the things that were written down in books. But the oak tree understood and became sad because he was fond of the nightingale, and asked her to sing the last song, and when she finished, the student thought that the nightingale had form, but no feeling. At night, the nightingale went to the rose tree and set her breast against the thorn. She sang all night long. She pressed closer and closer against the thorn until the thorn finally touched her heart and she felt a fierce pang of pain. The more the rose got the red color, the fainter the nightingale's voice became, and after beating her wings, she died. The rose was finished, but she could not see it. The next morning, the student saw the wonderful rose under his window. He took it and went to see the girl and offered her the rose, but she just say that the rose would not go with her dress and that the chamberlain's nephew had sent her real jewels and that everybody knew that jewels cost far more than flowers. After arguing with her, the student threw the rose into a gutter, where a cartwheel went into it, and he said that love was a silly thing and that he preferred logic and philosophy.